What's up, everybody? This is Skorch the Fears, episode, I don't even know, number 55 with my boy Marlon Johnson, a return guest to the podcast, but I haven't had a chance to interview you, so this is going to be really fun that I get to interview you this time. So this is going to be awesome. Marlon, my man, how you doing?
Bro, I'm doing good, man. The podcast definitely got an upgrade since the last time I was on it. You did not have that introduction, bro.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like I've been putting in the work to make it as professional as possible, right? But yeah, man, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you haven't been on in a while, like what, a year damn near? Like maybe
Dude,
8 months,
I
9 months?
I think so. It feels like it's been a year, man. It was
Yeah.
a long time ago, bro.
I love it. Cool, man. Well, this is going to be about you. This is going to be about your story. So, this is Scorch the Fears, right? And Marlon, so actually start off with tell everyone who you are. What's your business? Like what are your businesses? I know you've got quite a few different businesses. So tell people like what you're doing, what you're about, all of that, just to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, so what's going on, everybody? My name's Marlon Johnson, aka Mindset Marlon. So that's across all social media platforms. And I focus on two things in particular. I focus on real estate investing. I started off wholesaling in the past and moved into fix and flip, buy and holds. I still wholesale and I buy creative finance deals. So that's one major side of what I do. I've been doing that for the last 3 years now, just about. Just hit my 3 year mark in the real estate industry. And then the next thing I do, which is the passion of mine, is I do high performance coaching. Hence the name Mindset Marlin, because I recognized on this journey to entrepreneurship, mindset was the most critical piece of it all. It was,
Hmm.
you can't do this game without getting right up here. Sometimes we're always looking for the next best tool, the next best tactic. So in my personal journey, I realized I needed to incorporate growing the mindset, and I did that for myself. And now I help other entrepreneurs do the same so that they can break through the limiting beliefs that are preventing them from making those six-figure months and moving on and forward. So that's a little bit about who I am and kind of what I'm up to nowadays.
I love it, man. Like I just love seeing the stuff that you do. He's also incredibly social media like savvy, way more than me. He's got some cool reels. It's pretty dope. Okay, so tell me real quick, how did you get started in the game, man? Like where were you right before real estate? Like how'd you hear about it? Talk to me a little bit about that.
So what happened was when I was getting into real estate investing, it was like I said, about 3 years ago is when I started. But where I was before that, I used to do a sport called parkour, Jonah, and
Mm.
it was my absolute passion. If no one knows what parkour is, like please don't just like Google parkour because you're gonna get the video from The Office, and it's gonna be like that's what you're doing. But it's a movement
Love it.
discipline where we overcome obstacles, flipping, scaling, vaulting, that kind of stuff. Things gymnastics outdoors. And as I was doing this for about 8 or 9 years, and I coached it as
Yeah.
well as performed as an athlete
Hmm.
at a national and a professional level. And here's the cool thing: I ran one of the largest programs in the U.S. Got that information from my insurance broker. They told us like, "Hey, you've got like the largest program. You've got the most amount of students. Like, you guys are paying the
That's
most
sick.
for." Yeah, it was super cool. I didn't even realize we were just having a ton of fun and we are growing a community of athletes around it. And as you can imagine, it's a lot of younger guys and girls getting into the sport following us and that we were getting to coach. So what was going on was I was around, 19 when I got started. So I'm in my early 20s as I'm doing this. And I was playing an interesting role in these kids' lives. I wasn't quite a full blown, like 30-year-old adult. And I wasn't quite like a 16-year-old that was their age. I was like in this in between spot. So I became a mentor to a lot of these kids.
I
They
love
were
it.
with me year after year after year. And really, what started to happen here was I would always want to have serious conversations with them like, hey, what do you want to do with yourself when you get older? What do you want to do with your life? What are your passions? What are your dreams? And the answer I would always get, Jonah, was, I want to be a parkour coach. I want to be a parkour athlete. And I'm
Interesting.
like, bro, I was just like, that's so cool. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm ruining these kids because,
Wait, why? Why do you say that? Why were you ruining these kids? Because they
well,
can't
bro,
all be
here's,
parkour athletes?
well, no, they could all definitely go and be parkour athletes. The challenge was that sport, there wasn't any money in the industry yet. Still really
Mm,
isn't. So unfortunately, I was helping them develop a non-monetizable skill. And
Right.
that was becoming alarming to me because of where I was getting to in my life. I was getting to that point where I was in a serious relationship. I'm starting to have thoughts about settling down, wanting to become a provider, wanting to own a home, wanting to
How
travel,
old were
wanting
you?
to do things that cost money. I was around 24 years old around this time
Okay.
now, like when these thoughts are starting to bubble into my mind. So,
Right.
it's like I'm outside that party phase and I'm starting to look at like, hey, what's in the next chapter of life? And
Right.
realizing that if these kids are following me, the only reason they were saying they wanted to be a parkour coach and be a parkour athlete wasn't necessarily because that's what they wanted. What I noticed was I was one of the few people in their life that was showing up genuinely happy because Jonah, although I wasn't making a
Mm,
lot of money, I was having a lot of fun. I mean,
I
like
love
I
that.
was living my passion every single day and it was just a joy. So recognizing that most people in their lives, the honest truth was they were not happy and they can feel
Right.
that resonance of happiness off of me. So I started to ask myself a very serious question of like, hey, what are you going to do going forward? Because you want to start earning more money. However, I didn't want to trade my soul for that money. So it was important that I go and find something where I was able to earn a lot of money and at the same time still be able to fulfill that desire to do good, that desire to help other people. So the search began, and I wish I can say I was smart enough to have landed on real estate right away. But the truth is, I tried a couple of things, right? I tried
Right.
stocks, I tried, opening up my own like other businesses, and all those things eventually failed until I came into real estate. I went to one of those Robert Kiyosaki seminars. If you ever saw one of the Rich Dad Poor Dad like legacy building seminars, and
Yeah.
you go into the back of a Marriott hotel for 3 days on the weekend and they blow your brain. And then at the end of it, they ask you to buy like a $50,000 package,
Rough.
like, yeah.
That's a lot of money.
So, yeah, bro, I signed up for
Did you
one of
buy
those
it? Oh,
packages.
damn, nice.
Bro, I got
Wait, before
so,
we
so
go into that real quick, like what do you think? Because I just find it, this is just a pattern I notice, and I almost want you to, you can keep going into your story if you feel like it will help answer this question. But like, I've noticed that the people who are willing to do that, though, like are willing, like, screw it, I'm going to invest that much money, they're like so much more likely to be successful because it's like, wow, now I've really invested into it. Like, talk about that for a little bit of like what you think of like how I think it's almost necessary you buy some sort of mentorship to be successful.
bro, you were spot on. I mean, in the beginning, I didn't quite know that, but in reflection, that's 1000% the truth. See, when I had tried all the other things in the past, it wasn't that stocks didn't work and ecom didn't work and multi-level marketing and all that stuff didn't work. It was I didn't work. I would quit. When it got a little bit tough, I would back off and I would look for an easier route. I would look for the road with less resistance.
Right.
And when I had finally, for the first time, invested in myself, because when I went to that seminar, the presenter, he had shown me the way. However, he said, look, you got to pay for it. I'm not just going to give it to you. You actually have to buy it. You got to bet on yourself. And he was the first person that presented me with the opportunity to truly put my money where my mouth was.
Right.
Right. He gave me the opportunity to buy his program and to bet on myself. And that made me not quit. Right, because
Right.
I didn't spend 50,000. I spent $25,000 on my package, and I had 25,000 reasons to not give up every time it got a little difficult.
Right.
Because in the very early stages, I'm excited, but as we know, that honeymoon phase of trying the new thing wears off eventually, and then you're just faced with the actual work that you need to do. It's right. Like you
Right.
got to pick up the phone, you got to make the calls, you got to learn how to comp, you got to learn how to run your numbers, you got to learn how to raise money, all the things that are involved in becoming an excellent real estate investor, becoming an intelligent investor. You've got to do all of that. And man, like there's so many times I wanted to quit, Jonah, but because I had invested that money, I never did. And I learned that after you get through that uncomfortable portion of it, there's something on the other side. And so I think it's a critical step that everyone go and they find something to invest their money in. And I would recommend they invest a certain amount of money that they are not comfortable losing. Right. If you're going to
Hmm.
buy something for like $150 or $1,000 or $5,000 and you're okay with spending that kind of money, it's not uncomfortable for you to spend that money, then don't even buy it. It's not worth it. But if it
Right.
makes you uncomfortable to buy an $8,000 mentorship, a $12,000 package, a $20,000 package, and you're like, I cannot afford to lose this, that's the package you need to buy.
Wait, say that again. You think you're recommending people buy the package they can't afford or can afford?
That they cannot afford. The one
This is
that like
not financial advice, guys. This is
yeah,
this is entrepreneurial advice. This is not financial advice. Marlon is not a financial advisor. Well, I'm gonna
I'm
put
not
the
a financial
preface there for
advisor.
you.
I'm just a guy that was able to produce a result because the truth is when I bought that $25,000 package, I want everyone to know this about this story. When I bought that package, you know how much money I had in my bank account?
How
I had
much?
about $3,000 in my bank
Wait,
account.
how was that? How is that possible? It was fifty
Bro,
thousand dollars.
dog, I got
How do you do that?
well, wait, it was a $25,000 package. I had $3,000 in my bank account.
Okay.
Creative financing kicked in, right? Because first off, I found out I can call up the bank and I could raise my credit limit. So I had a card that
Hmm.
had about $3,000 on the limit. I was able to
Gotcha.
get that raised. Didn't even know that was a thing. So I got creative with the financing. The second thing was I got to learn how to raise money with the Bank of Love because I started going to mom and dad, started hitting up my uncles, like to start calling everybody, like, look, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
get into
love
this
it.
real estate thing. And those conversations were uncomfortable because I've never asked for money ever, ever in my life. So very uncomfortable conversations. But before I knew it, in the course of one night, I had raised, and I also at that time had asked my girlfriend, like she pitched in and she did it with me, and she brought in a portion of money. So in that night, I'd raised 25 grand and purchased that package,
Wow,
and it blew
that's
my mind.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. Wait, okay, so there's a lot of questions. I'm gonna stick on this moment because this is a wild moment, just in general. Like, I had a similar moment in a sense. Like, I did have a similar moment. I didn't do 25K. I did like it was Astro, so it was like 5K. So it wasn't nearly as bad, but or as not as bad, but just as like scary. So, dude, like, okay, how does one so you're okay. You're recommending people to make an investment that they can't afford. I'm assuming the reason is because it's burning the boats, right? Like it's like if you're willing to do that, then you will be forced to become successful. Is like how I would put it. But like explain to us a little bit like why, I guess, is really what I'm
Yeah.
getting at.
So that's the rationale behind it because ultimately I want people to understand and I want them to really reflect on themselves personally. It's a lot of people don't achieve what they want because they think the dream didn't work. The dream
Mm,
works, right? If it worked for somebody else, it works. The challenge was, again, they stopped working because
right.
ultimately they didn't have enough skin in the game to keep going. See, there should be a pain in losing. There should be a pain in failure. Unfortunately, we try and take away all the pain. We try and remove pain from things we do. Pain is a very, very powerful motivator. See, for me, it got to the place where when I had spent that money, the pain of going back to my family and saying, hey guys, that money that you lent me, it's gone. I did nothing with it. I accomplished nothing at all. That credit card debt that I got
Rough.
myself into, totally, it didn't amount to anything. I have nothing to show for it. That
Rough.
was more painful. And I put myself into a place that was more painful than doing the work.
That's crazy. That's such an interesting philosophy. Do you feel like that's for everybody? I don't know. I like I want like I'm gonna start a little bit of a disagreement here. It's like I feel like it depends on who you are because I think some people will just be shut down by that fear, while some people are like invigorated by it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think everyone should do that?
Ooh, that's a good question. So, if someone comes to me and like I can see that, yeah, I think it comes to the spirit, right? The sort of
Right.
spirit that they have. Because some people, you're right, some people that might stress them out so much that they can't even function, right?
Right.
And I absolutely get that. However, some people like myself, I recognize, look, if I don't have something holding me to the fire, I'm going to back off because I had already proven that to myself in the past. I had already done things. I mean, Jonah, let me ask you, when you got into Astro, right, and you started learning all this course and, you signed a disclosure saying you're not going to share this with anyone. I'm sure that maybe a friend might have come over and you're like, hey, bro, just like sit in the back and watch the Zoom with me, right? Just I'm not going to charge you anything. Just watch the Zoom with me because you just want to share the value you have, right? But then you start to find if your friends are anything like my friends, they didn't really engage with it. They weren't really
Right.
paying attention to it. And you're like, bro, what are you? I'm trying to show you how you can start making six figures, seven figures, how you can change your entire life. And they just don't care. They're not paying attention. They don't have any skin in the game. So I do think that there is a level of skin in the game and there's a level of commitment that each person needs to have. Now, the amount per person will be different. I don't think everyone has to
Right.
spend 25 grand. In your case, 5 grand did the job. And
Yep.
in all honesty, maybe 12 grand might have done the job for me. It was just a damn good salesman.
No, I feel that too, and like I'm gonna full screen myself to like really put this point in that I 100% agree that you do need to pay something monetarily to be successful. I don't know anyone who hasn't done some sort of mentorship in real estate who was successful. Just because of exactly what you're talking about, you need some desperation. You need to be like, okay, I'm freaking doing this. We're going in, we're making this freaking happen. I'm not BSing anymore. Like we're doing it. I'm not just researching. I'm not just blah blah blah. I need to freaking cold call, or I need to do whatever strategy I'm gonna do in order to make this successful. Mixed with the psychology of just when you buy something, you just value it more. It's just that's just the truth of life. So I really want to put it home to people. It's like if you're having you have to put the fear behind you, not in front of you. I've had that happen before. Heard people where it's like, I don't know if I can do it because it's in front of them, and then it stops you. Well, if it's behind you, like a devil behind you chasing you, then you start running. So I'm just like really like pushing that forward in the sense of just like you're 100% correct of I think people should buy some sort of mentorship because A, you need the knowledge, and then B, you're right, you need to have some skin in the game. Like you can't, you're like, if you're not willing to commit 5K to making six figures, like what are you doing? That's investment. Like, are you an investor or not? Like anybody, I would take today 6K for hundreds of thousands of dollars all day, every day. Right. So it's a no brainer. It's just that people don't 100% see the investment as because it's intangible.
1000%. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. Anywho, sorry. So anyway, went on a tangent there for a second, but like, all right, so keep going. So you commit 25K, then what?
All right, so I commit 25K. This is October of 2019. So if you know anything about that timeline, what happens right after? We go into a global pandemic, bro.
Right.
So I invest this 25K. I'm about to learn real estate investing. I'm going to be a wholesaler. I just got to pick up the phone and call people. I'm living in New York, right next to New York City. I'm in the best market in the world. What could possibly go wrong? Bro, I am calling people just following the script that they told me. They said, you speak these lines and you will make money. You will be able to help people. So I'm just like so excited and I'm calling people and I'm getting cursed out. Bro, like I am like getting like I'm like I've never been just like cursed out over the phone. So keep in mind, I haven't ever had a job of cold calling before. So this is my first experience of cold calling, and I'm calling people at the beginning of a pandemic in New York, one of the places that shut down majorly, and I'm asking them if they want to sell their house.
Right.
People are like, how dare you call me in a pandemic? What's wrong with you?
Mm,
You're trying to steal my house. And bro, I'm going through this for 6 months straight, just not a
right.
single positive response. And it got to the point where I, quite frankly, one day I remember hanging up the phone, putting it down and upside down, and just asking myself, am I a bad person? Right? Like,
Hmm.
am I have to be a bad person. Why else would so many people be cussing me out? And here's what like I didn't have at that moment. In the moment, although I had like the motivation and the desire to do something, I was missing a community. I was
Mm,
doing this by myself. I was just like at home every day, going downstairs into my dining room, and I was calling for 6 to 8 hours straight every
wow.
day, hand dialing off my Google Voice. I mean, like I put in
Damn.
reps on that Google Voice. Like, oh my gosh, because I didn't have after spending all that money, by the way, I didn't have enough money for like a dialer or things like that afterwards. So like
Right.
your boy was working on like the no budget.
Right.
Um and really just it was going at it. And as I was continuing to go at this and just refusing to give up, because there were days I wanted to quit, like 6 months of hearing no, like back to back to back, at some point you want to quit, like you really do.
Right.
And I'm asking myself, am I even good at this? Like, and there was
So
so much
6 to 8
self-doubt.
months of cold calling and nothing, basically?
Dude, nothing, man. Like, not even like
Damn.
a I had maybe one lead, like one lead that turned into an appointment. And then when I like, was finally able to get the guy my number, like the offer price, I mean, he just like laughed at me. And I was just
Right,
like, so it was really, but again, like I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't realize a global pandemic changed the market. I didn't realize New York was also one of the tougher markets to get into. I didn't
right,
realize that New York sellers were like a little bit more savvy than other marketplaces. I didn't realize that you can go virtual. There were so many things I didn't know.
right,
And the only thing that kept me from quitting was, dude, you invested way too much money to not produce a result. Like, so I kept going, and eventually I found the mentorship program that you and I are part of, which was the Sub
sub
2
2.
mentorship. See, what happened was, if you know Will Ayarza and I had met at the very first program that I invested into, that Robert Kiyosaki program. And Will one night calls me and he's like, dude, you got to go online right now. You got to go on Facebook. It's like 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like, bro, it's bedtime. I'm going to sleep. He's like, no, no, man, you got to go online. Get on Facebook right now. There's this guy. He's breaking down creative financing. He's standing in a whiteboard. He says he's going to teach this thing for like 24 hours. And I'm like, bro, what are
Mm,
you talking about? He's like, dude, just I'm promising you, just go online. Whatever. So I open up my computer, pop online. Lo and behold, there's this like white guy in Arizona standing in front of a whiteboard just talking creative financing using like peanut butter jelly analogies and like F-150 stories. And I'm like, I'm dead tired, bro, but I'm hooked. I'm like, I'm
right,
listening to every word. And before I know it, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm just like still wired. I stayed awake the entire night watching this dude. And I felt like Neo in the Matrix, like when he downloads Kung Fu into his mind. I was like, holy crap, I know creative financing. Like I understand creative financing.
right,
And I got like reinvigorated with this whole new energy to go out and to do this business and, to keep things going. And I felt like I got all the sauce. I felt like I learned everything I needed to learn. And he had offered to join the mentorship program, but I'm like, I don't need to join the mentorship program, you idiot. You just taught me everything you know. Like, it's too late. So 2 days later, I'm in a group chat with Will Iarza and Maurice, and they go, bro, that Zoom, that Pace just did. Holy crap. And I'm like, oh, he's live on Facebook again? They're like, oh no, we signed up for his mentorship.
mm.
Now, Jonah, I'm a lot of things, but I'm also very petty sometimes. And I'm like, wait, you guys all signed up for the mentorship without me? And like sometimes like the thought of people having something that I can't have, like this motivates me to want to go get it. So after I had promised myself, I'm not signing up for another mentorship until I do something with
Right,
this 25 grand that I already spent. I jumped into the Pace Morbius.
right,
So, still haven't done a deal yet. I just invested more money into a mentorship program thinking, all right, this like there's something here. Like there's value here. I need to go and pursue it. And
right,
with that, as I joined that mentorship program, I started to plug into community. I started to find people who were able to help me along the way, along the days. We were able to make calls together. We were able to do things together. And in fact, I even reached out to Pace Morby and I messaged him very early on. And I said, listen, just signed up for your mentorship. The Zooms are awesome. I want to come out to Arizona for a day and I want to work inside the office. Like, I don't want to work for you. I just want to come to the office and I want to work and be around people because I have no idea what it looks like to do this business properly. Like, I
mhm,
got to be honest, man. Like, I'm just working off of videos right now and like, but I need to go touch something. Like, none of this feels real yet. I need to go touch something. So he actually let me come out there. And this is one of the
nice.
things that changed my paradigm shift so much. Two major things. I want people to hear this.
Guys, this is the sauce. This is the sauce right here.
This is the sauce. This is why it's so important to surround yourself with good people. When I asked Pace to come out there, the first question he asked me back was, "Hey, do you have a car when you get out here?" I was like, "That's a weird question." I was like, "No, no, why?" He's like, "Oh, here, you can take my car." The dude
Wow.
does not know me yet. He does like we have a friendship now, but that at that point in time, he didn't know me. Offers me his car. I'm like, whoa, that was crazy. And the second thing is when I got out there, I got to spend the first day I was in town in the office with Cody, Nick, and Tino. Back then, Nick and Tino were his main acquisition guys, and Cody is still his business partner to this day. And Cody showed me the back end of their system, and then Nick and Tino allowed me to make calls with them all day. I listened to certified closers, guys who are doing seven figures of revenue each year, be told no for an entire day straight, back to back to back for like 8 hours straight. I listened to them get rejected on the phone. And here's the coolest part, it didn't bother them. It didn't affect them. It didn't
Mm,
change how they went from one phone call, one conversation to the next. In fact, when around 1 o'clock rolled in, they were like, "Hey guys, let's go get some lunch." I'm like, "Get lunch? But we haven't closed the deal yet, guys. We haven't gotten a contract. Why are we allowed to? Are we allowed to eat?" And they're looking at me like, "Bro, yeah, we got to go eat. Let's get some food, man. Like,
yeah,
how else are we supposed to keep going throughout the whole day?" And it started
right.
to just show me that okay, getting rejected has nothing to do with me and
Hmm.
that I have to build myself resilient. I've got to be that type of person that can get back on the phone and bring value no matter what the results are.
I love that. So talk a little bit about more what was just switching in your head, right? Because I have a sense of what happened there, but I want to hear it from you. Like why was it all of a sudden like just was it just seeing that these people are okay with rejection and you had like this belief that rejection was bad? Is that kind of it?
Yeah. So, what happens is sometimes when we're doing things on our own, and this is why community is so damn critical. When we're doing this stuff on our own, we just make up in our mind what success should look like. And oftentimes we are so far off, right? We think success just looks like doing it perfect and just gliding on in, no turbulence. It just everything works out. Every conversation's a yes. And then I go and I see guys that have proven with their HUD statements, have proven with their content, have proven with their results that they are successful. And I'm watching them in the day to day grind of it. And it wasn't pretty. It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't this non turbulent scenario. It was
Right,
all the same garbage I was going through. The only difference was how they were responding to it. I
right.
saw that it was different individuals. There was the same obstacles, same objectives, same everything. The people were different. See, they
Mm,
had viewed themselves, they had already established that confidence in themselves. And I realized I was missing that confidence and I was doubting every step I was taking. So when I got to
right.
that place and realized that, oh my gosh, rejection isn't anything wrong. In fact, rejection is a sign that I'm moving forward towards my yes.
I
I'm
love
moving
it.
closer to my yes. It started to help me build my own personal confidence and really remember, okay, I should be proud that I even showed up today. I should be proud that I'm getting on and I'm knocking down the obstacles one by one and I'm patiently waiting until I get to my yes. I'm aggressively patient, right? Because I'm not sitting around doing nothing for it. I'm doing something to get it and I'm not allowing anything to stop me until I do. So that
Right.
was a major paradigm shift that switched in me. And then also just being in that environment, being around other people who were doing something, who had like minded nature, who, for example, like I said, Pace gave me his car. That was the first time I met another human who would just give up their car to a total stranger. And I didn't think, man, this is weird. I thought, wow, there's someone else out in the world that's like me. Because
Mm,
that's something I would do, but all my friends would call me stupid for doing something like that. And
right.
here it is, like this guy out here is also like me. So I found community and that energy revitalized me. It gave me so much more than I can ever explain. So much to the point that when I went back home, after months of not getting anything, any sort of traction, when I got back home within 30 days, I had gotten my first deal done. And that
That's
deal turned
crazy.
into two freaking properties.
I love it. So let's talk about that for a second because I think that's really important too. What it sounds like is you were an island, basically. Like you were completely an island, and what happened was is because you were on this island, you didn't know which way to go. You didn't know up from down, left to right. You had no idea like what was going on, like in terms of where you should be going, right? Like you just had no clue. And as soon as somebody like put an a like gave you a sail and gave you a direction, it's like, no, 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 no. There's gonna be some rocks on your sailboat journey, man. Like it's gonna happen. In fact, you should be slamming into a few rocks at the beginning. Like, don't worry, we know how to repair the boat. Like this is how it works, right? Yeah, man. Like I'm curious about that is like how would you recommend somebody get into a community? Obviously, they can join Sub 2 or Asha or any of these ones, but are there any is there any way you feel like, do you just recommend people join those ones or join, I know you have a program, or join a program of some sort, or should they, or could they, or should they, if they're really broke, find just someone like you and me and just network?
Yeah, so great question, Jonah. If someone's getting into anything, I really recommend community, 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 community. And the best thing to do, in my opinion, is first off, understand that you might have to walk alone for a little bit. There's going to be a certain part when you're already in your circle, you're already in your world of who you're connecting with currently, that you are going to separate from that circle. Maybe it's your old friends who weren't doing anything in the past. Maybe it's your family who are not great influence. You're going to separate from your current circle and you're going to see another world, another circle of people that you want to be around and you want to be with. And it's going to take some time to get from your island to their island,
Right.
and understand that if you're waiting for someone to walk with you, you might be waiting a real long time. If you're waiting for
Mm,
someone to swim with you to get over there, you might be waiting a really long time. So I just want to let people know, because sometimes people don't make the move because they're waiting for either someone to come and get them or they're waiting for someone to go with them.
right.
So be willing to go off and venture on your own. And what that looks like and what that means in a practical sense is start doing the things that you want to do. Like I started making the cold calls before I was ready. I started working on trying to build this business before I had the community. And while taking that action, what will naturally happen, and I can promise you this happens, you will naturally start to find yourself in the places and positions to connect with those other like-minded folks, right? You're going to start to naturally find, hey, there are meetups of people who are also interested in real estate. There are meetups of people who are interested in working on their mindset. There are meetups of people who are interested in financial literacy. You're going to start to find those people, and it's amazing. So I recommend doing that, and then also leveraging your social media, right? These are free tools you have access to. Leveraging your social media. For example, many of you are watching the Skorch the Fears podcast right now on YouTube. You should be watching it live. If you're listening to this as a pre-recording, I recommend you watch these episodes live, because in the comment section, I'm seeing guys like Randy, I'm seeing Eli, I'm seeing Adriana, I'm seeing Alejandro, I'm
Alejandro,
seeing
dude.
all these dope people inside the comment section. Some of these people are producing six plus figures per month in their business, and they're hanging out in places like this. They're jumping into the YouTube channel. They're jumping onto these dope podcasts where value is being dropped, and that's where you can go and start connecting with these other people. And you start to find out, like, hey, who's in Dallas? Hey, who's in California? Hey, who's in Arizona? And hey, let's go meet up for coffee this weekend. Hey, let's go plug up. Let's jump on a Zoom together. You start to find those like-minded people. You knock that one domino down, you open that one door, and a gateway opens up to you.
I love it. Yeah, man. I mean, I think it's something powerful to say for sure. The fact that you went you went 6 to 8 months without getting a deal. You did one visit to some dude in Arizona, who is like obviously a beast, one of our favorite guys, Pace Morby, and you hung out with him and his team for a day, and it almost sounds like, tell me if I'm wrong, it wasn't even that you particularly learned anything real estate wise that was like anything crazy different. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it seems like it's almost more like they gave you the permission to fail, to do worse. Like it was almost like fully a mindset thing. Tell me if I'm wrong, like how much was even real estate versus just like, oh, I'm supposed to get cursed at, you know?
Bro, that was the biggest thing, right? It really, because you're right. Like, honestly, guys, if you jump into a mentorship program, if you listen to enough Bigger Pockets episodes or watch enough Pace Morby or Jamil Damji on YouTube, you'll learn, or Brent Daniels, you'll learn everything you need to know about, like, at least getting into a wholesale business and starting up wholesale real estate, things of that
Mm,
nature. So the information is out there. However, that permission to fail and still be accepted by your peers, that's
right.
huge, right? And I want to like take everyone back to, like, if we forget about real estate for a second and we just think about, back when we were young guys and we wanted to go ask out a girl, what's the biggest worry? Oh, I'm gonna go ask
Rejection.
her out. She's gonna reject me, and all her friends are gonna laugh at me, and all my friends are gonna laugh at me, and I'm just gonna be this total loser. But then you get your core group of friends, like your main guys, and they're just like, bro, I don't care if she denies you. Like, we'll all laugh about it together, but no matter what, we're
Can I
here for
interrupt
you.
you and just
Yeah.
also, I just think it's so funny, like when you said that out loud, because I know exactly what you're talking about. The subconscious thinks that, but you saying that out loud, being like, I'm gonna ask this girl out, she's gonna reject me, all her friends are gonna laugh at me, all my friends are gonna laugh at me. It sounds ridiculous when you say it aloud. Like, of course that's not gonna happen. That girl is gonna forget about you in 15 seconds, 15-20 seconds. You don't exist to her anymore. So I just think it's funny. I want to really emphasize for a second that like a lot of our fears that we like hold ourselves, whether it's real estate, girls, whatever, they're in our subconscious that these things are going to happen. But if we actually express them vocally, like it's going to, you're going to realize how ridiculous the fears are. I do this with my business coach Mike a lot, and we like just vocalize things that I know are like I'm scared of in my like chest, and I start vocalizing. I'm like, oh, that's so ridiculous. Like what? Like now that it's I've said it aloud, I'm realizing how insanely silly that is. This is a stupid fear, or like this, or this just doesn't make sense. My subconscious is trying to is just fearful, and then I would say my subconscious is fearful and then creating an excuse almost. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel.
Yeah, dude, you're spot on, and that's the thing. As humans, as communal creatures, we don't want to face rejection because we want to remain a part of the pack. So when
Right.
I was out there and I got to be around this community, and I saw that, whoa, even though other people are rejecting them, the tribe is still accepting them.
Right.
And it just made it okay. It's kinda like when a kid knows that no matter what they do, they're gonna receive the love of their parent, right? Kobe Bryant talked
Right.
about this, that when he understood that his dad said, "Listen, son, it doesn't matter if you win the game or if you lose the game, I'm gonna love you either way." He had
Right.
taken the biggest worry out of Kobe's life, and so Kobe said, "Well, if you're gonna love me anyway, I might as well go win." Right? Like,
Right.
I'm gonna go play full out and go win. So, for
Right.
me, the same thing happened. It was, "Oh, no matter what, you're telling me I can get told no, I can lose the sale, I can lose the contract, and you guys are still gonna let me back into the community, you're still gonna wanna hang out with me, you're still gonna teach me and mentor me? Oh, well, let's go. I got nothing to lose." I literally have nothing to lose.